Hello, in this video we are going to learn how to leverage Archie, one of the specialized agents coming with AgentGuild, to create software architecture specifications that both you and your AI agent, the developer one, can understand to actually build your system. So let's go for it. Now, as you can see on the right side, I have Cloud Code there, and I'm going to start typing Archie. Can you create the specs, the system specs for me? So that's all I need, and then this prompt will be based on the instructions that we already initialized the repo with. It will be intercepted by Archie, and then Archie will start using the instructions that it has to create markdown documents with a few specifications that you will find really helpful. Well, the first thing that Archie will do if it doesn't have locally the instructions and the templates to create the specs is to start downloading these files to your local project. So as you can see here, it is downloading the templates. So the first one is the flow specification template, then the architecture template as well, and then it will store them locally in the cache, so you don't need to do this anymore in the future. Okay, so now we have all the templates, and now we can actually start specifying our system. Now that Archie has the templates, it can actually help us create the different flows and the architecture document. So first, Archie, or in this case the parent agent, is inviting us to pass the requirements. I could point to the README file again, but okay, I will just write down the prompt with the summary of what our system or our application is about, and then I will let Archie try to map this to a model or ask me for any clarifications that it might need. So here it goes, and there are some questions coming from Archie, like about user management, the scoring system, the task attributes, persistence, and any additional features that I might want to include. So this is good because Archie is instructed not to go on over-engineering or including additional things where not needed. So what I will do is just to try to keep it as simple as possible. So for now, it's only one single user, so let's not add authentication here. For number 2, it's fine. The assumptions were just fine from Archie. And then let's add some low, medium, high priority. So that's actually a good idea. And points number 4 and 5, yeah, they are good observations. So now I want Archie to define the flows, the MOSY flows for me. And then since Archie has been educated with the MOSY framework guide, as you can see also on the left side that it has access to documentation, then it will create these flows. And here we have the first one, the create task flow, that it's ready for review. I recommend you to use a markdown preview plugin, or just not to read the plain text files and trying to make them visual. And then you will get something like this here. And this is the summary of the flow according to MOSY specs. Well, it's really easy. If you are not familiar with the MOSY specs, it's just a way to describe your system interactions in a way that we can later model it as code. So we have actors, we have actions, and those map to technical components and APIs. And as you can see here, it's modeling elements that will be in the front end, others that will be in the back end. There are some additional nodes here per flow to give more information. So all this is Archie knowing what to do and what to create based on templates and based on the specialized prompts and instructions and guidelines available in AgentGuild. And this is really useful. This is useful not only for you, but indeed for the AI agents to later implement it without having to load the entire code to try to guess what you want to build. So as you can see here, the flows have multiple steps, like this one where you complete a task and then actually you get the score that you assigned to the task. And you have the actions, which are the equivalent to the old school service layer, and then you have the data layer elements. Well, you have all the other flows as well here, and you even get metrics suggested by Archie and what would make sense to track. And this has been generated automatically, so it's not that I have intervened here. This is what we get for the flows. Now it's creating the entity model, which will be also quite useful. But in this case, as you can imagine, since we simplified the application quite a lot, you get only the task and the user score. So that's basically what we need. And again, this is good because there is no scope creep here. There are no like 100 entities created. Archie is just trying to keep it as simple as possible. So we said there are no users because there is no authentication. So there is only tasks and then the user score. And again, it's defining the fields, and you can refine this with Archie if needed. If you don't like some fields here or some conventions that I have implemented there in the guidelines, you can just modify. And remember, we are creating this gamified to-do application, but we could be creating anything else. I mean, this is just an example, and Archie will work the same in the same way and creating similar flows and details about the entity model. So for now, we have created an entity, a flow, an entity model, and now it's time to create sequence diagrams, which are also quite useful, again, for you and the AI agents. So there are like templates for this as well. Then we need to wait until the sequence diagram is ready, and then we can actually use the markdown rendering plugin to visualize this. Of course, you need also the plugin to have support for Mermaid diagrams, because that's what's being created here as code. So let me zoom in the diagram so you can see the value of this sequence. So what we have here is, well, just a UML sequence diagram made with Mermaid diagrams as code, but then Archie has been instructed to split the different actors as components in the system and following also the actor model of the MOSY framework. So what you see here with these canvas emoji icons are the components of the front end. Then we have the user. Then the user is going to act on the create task form, and that will call task form input and the task service. So you see here all the interactions, everything that should happen. So you can understand exactly what is being modeled, and then you can verify whether that is what you want or not, and then make changes on a reduced scope, let's say, because now what we are producing are still diagrams as code. So this will be the source of truth. So it is important that you verify that everything here is as you expect. So you have the front-end components, and we have an API, which is called API/tasks. And then we have the backend components, where we have, following the MOSY model, not services, but actions called by an action. So we have a controller, we have the user actor modeled in the backend as well, which will be useful later if you want to implement authentication especially. And then you call the action as that user, execute the action, validate the inputs, create the task entity so that interacts with the database through the repository. And then if you're using events, that will publish a task created event. And then we get the result all the way through the backend and through the frontend. So this is what you get. You get one of these for each flow, as I told you, using Archie. And later, as you can imagine, just a spoiler alert, you can instruct your developer AI agent to read this file, the sequence diagram, and the other files that we are producing to get the necessary context to create your code. And this is really useful instead of just trying to explain everything with prompts and describing the code and doing a lot of heavy load on the AI agent context. So that's a sequence diagram. You see there are one for each flow, and you should of course review every one of them. In my case, I will tell Archie to simplify this by not sending events yet, because I'm not planning to use any message bus like Kafka or making any distributed system. So that's what I will do as well. The next step after producing the sequence diagrams is to create the overall architecture documentation. So Archie and Cloud Code, if the template is not available, it will again access the AgentGuild MCP server, it will download the template, and it will produce this markdown file with the Mermaid diagrams included in it. So let's also have a look at the diagram that Archie generated for the overall architecture documentation. As you can see here, it's describing the system overview, the technology stack, and then it's going into depicting the entire architecture diagram, which is color coded with actors, front end, back end. Again, if we zoom in a bit so you can have a look of what this actually generated. I'm sure you will see the value here. So there are the actors model, there are the entity classes, there is the tasks dashboard on the React side, the task list as a component, the form, the card model there, the service that is interacting with the API, with the task controller on the backend. Then on the gamification side, you can see here the score display, score service. All of this is automatically generated by Archie, right? So I haven't done anything here. And then on the backend side, you see that there is the controller, the actions, actors, repository. So it's the entire thing. And again, I'm sure you are already imagining how easy it is after having this to just produce the code, right? So it's not complicated at all. If you try to create this system just by prompts, you can do it, and that would be like what I call the wild vibe coding. But that would be a mess and completely overwhelming for you and for the AI agent that will start hallucinating and creating things that it shouldn't create. Actually, when I will show you how to work with the development agent in AgentGuild, you will see how sometimes they deviate from the specifications, and then you need to be interrupting them and saying, hey, look at the specifications again, and you should implement this and that, and then produce this code. So yeah, so that's something also that is quite useful, is that you get also per flow the architecture diagrams. So which classes are involved, or which code blocks are involving each of the flows. So you have for the create task, for the update task status, again color coded, complete task flow. Yeah, so it's a lot of information, and it takes a while for the AI agent to generate. I mean, it can take half a minute, 1 minute, but it's really worth the effort and the tokens that you are paying for this because it's actually gold to produce the code afterward. You get the API contracts as well. You can get an open API specification. Archie is instructed to provide this, and also the async API specification in case of events, and the deployment architecture that you can refine later. So yeah, that's it, the architecture diagram. And that's the idea. That's the idea of Archie and the task-driven and specs-driven development with AI, is that you define your system in a way that the only thing that you need to do to have it in reality is to produce the code. And that's it. And if you don't like the code, you can actually remove it and start over again. But you have all the actors, You have the actions that are documented, you have the flows, you can refine these flows, you can refine the actors, you can refine the actions, the business logic. Of course, that's up to you to do it. It's really hard for Archie to guess your entire business logic. But once you have it, the only thing you need is just to produce the code. So that will be part of the following video. For now, we can just say, hey, Tasky, can you start a new task for us? We will implement this flow.